Hi there, I'm Ken Lammers. Welcome to Minor League Matters, and today is going to be the weekly soccer report. American soccer, primarily USL and MLS. Uh, we're going to leave the lower level leagues alone. They're interesting to kind of go and take a look at once in a while, particularly Minnesota and Detroit, and I'm sure there's some others out there that are interesting to watch and follow. But the ones that are actually national is what I'm going to talk about right now. So let's get started with the USL. USL East, Cincinnati and Louisville have flipped places, which Louisville, as we all know, started out balls of fire this year, and they were last year's champion through the tournament and everything. But Cincinnati was the great success story of last year with the huge crowds and everything. And so this is an interesting rivalry that I really hope has time to develop. I know that people in Cincinnati will not like to hear this from me, but I hope that Cincinnati does not go to the MLS. In all honesty, the MLS isn't doing it right, and the USL is a lot closer to doing it right. And so I think that FC Cincinnati, with natural rivalries in Indianapolis, uh, Louisville, even Pittsburgh, right, uh, works better than if they were in the top league. So that's my little, I'll get off my high horse right now. Cincinnati and Louisville are the only teams that have winning records in the East. So Charleston, which is number three, does not have a winning record. Uh, this is something that happens in soccer, and I may rant on this later, but we'll move on from there. And so the next is USL West. USL West has four teams with winning records, and they're Real Monarchs, Phoenix Rising, Sacramento Republic, and Portland Timbers 2. Everybody else in the West does not have a winning record. These four teams do. It would seem to indicate that the West is stronger than the East this year. We'll see how that actually plays out. It could just mean that the top teams at the West are that much better than the lower teams. Again, we'll see how it plays out, how it plays at the end of the year. Uh, it is interesting that while the East, the top three teams, don't think are affiliated with any MLS teams, the in the West, two of them are and two of them aren't. Although Phoenix Rising, which is not, seems to have a lot of people really thinking that they're going to do well when they kind of come awake, right? That they're not doing quite as well as they could. I'm happy to see Sacramento in here as well, and we'll see how this all plays out in the end. Okay, in the MLS, we have Sporting Kansas City out west is number one, and Los Angeles Football Club are number two. And those two teams are the only teams with winning records out west. So the rest of them are all below 500 below 50% for their wins, right? In the East, we've got Atlanta FC as number one, which I'm sure is helping with their monstrous crowds. I haven't checked, but I'm assuming that the crowds are still large this year. Although Atlanta can be fickle, you got to be careful about that stuff. And New York City Football Club, not the Red Bulls, New York City Football Club has moved up to number two slot. Columbus was number two as of last week. They've now moved back to three. I think actually in the East there are four or five. I think five teams that are winning teams still have winning records out of the 12. Um, which again, maybe this shows that the East is better than the West this year, or maybe it just shows that the higher level teams in the West are just that much above the lower level teams that they're beating them up enough to get that kind of record going. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out through the year, and that's the MLS. So that's a quick breakdown of the standings as of today, which of course is the 23rd of May 2018. In the future, maybe we'll hit it a little bit more in depth, but I just want to give everybody kind of a heads up where things are. And if you like what you're seeing here today, hit like. If you like what you see around here generally, hit subscribe. And until the next time we talk, remember one thing: go watch the minor league sports.